Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to my review of the Nextool Black Knight Multi-Tool. You're at the We All Juggle Knives channel, by the way. Welcome one and all. Nextool, a related brand to Nextorch, the well-known flashlight company. And this multi-tool is related to the Flagship Pro, but with some differences. Here is the tool set. You've got your typical multi-tool pliers with wire cutters. You've got some very large scissors or shears. We're going to test them out. One-handed opening on a plain-edged knife blade. One-handed opening on a wood saw. And that has a lock. There's the lock. And the smaller tools, you've got a bit driver. Right, there's a nail nick on that bit driver. Comes with this bit set and that adapter you see there that fits over it. It also has what they call the knot untying tool, which you can also use as a leather punch, and that has a nail file on it. And last, it has a bottle opener with a flathead screwdriver at the end. Now those three smaller tools are also non-locking tools, and it has a pocket clip. So what do I think of this tool set? Well, they've included 5 of the most useful tools, I would say. What does it not have? Well, it does not have a metal file, it does not have a serrated blade, it does not have a cutting hook, and it does not have a reamer. And it also does not have a can opener. Doing stuff with the multi-tool. Ah yes, the key to any review, doing stuff. Cutting some paracord there. It does very well on the paracord. I would say the large scissors are a high point of this multi-tool. They did great on the paracord. Here is some seatbelt-like material. And it does pretty well on this too. Very well, actually, if you had to cut some straps. So the price on this multi-tool was $32. I will include a link, and if it's not available, it will come back in stock at some point. Alright, cutting different types of wire. Here is some easy wire. And yeah, that's what it's called officially, easy wire now. It did well on the easier wire. Alright, here is some copper wire. It does well on that. Alright, next up we've got some 3-strand cable wire. Now this wire is longer, or it is wider than the cutters are long, so you got to kind of work your way through it as you see there. But it can cut them. And you might have to cut this stuff on the job, so this was both of those wires, the red and that, were requested by viewers. Speaking of pliers, you can use them to grab and grip things. Your forceps, so to speak. And we might as well cut one of those strands. Other uses of those, well, got my Stanley snap-off utility knife blade. And you can snap things off. You can grip things tightly. You can also, well, they open fairly wide, as you will see. They are spring-loaded. They are spring-loaded. You see how widely they open? They can accommodate easily something of that size. Right? So you can turn things. You can hold things in place. Right, so altogether, pretty useful. Alright, here is the knife blade on that strap material. Was pretty well on that. I did some test cuts with the saw, and then we're going to connect those using the knife blade. The saw I felt was a little slower than my Swiss knife saws. Alright, there are some stop cuts. Alright, more blade work. We're just going to connect those two and make a squared off notch. So how are you all doing these days? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty well, except we're having a cold snap. And it's about 30 degrees colder than it looks. Like, you know, you see the sunlight there. But it was very cold. And there were quite a few birds because it was the first day we actually had any sunlight as opposed to icy rain, so those birds were quite excited about that. Yeah, I couldn't really feel my fingers at that point. I have no insulation on those fingers, unfortunately. Now, this knife blade is non-locking. However, if they follow their form with their Flagship Pro multi-tool, there are two versions of the Flagship Pro, one with a locking blade and one without. So now this Black Knight has a non-locking blade, but they could well come out with a locking one. Alright, so there's my squared off notch. Coming up, initial sharpness after a 1 minute touch up. Alright, so just listen here. Alright, so they did an excellent job, and again, that was after 1 minute of just smoothing out the edge. The spine of the saw is extremely sharp and good for scraping and striking. There it is on my fire steel, and it is very handy that the saw locks because you can apply a lot of force in either direction. So yeah, you can use it as a striker, maybe important if you're a bushcrafter. Alright, here is the bit driver. Unscrewing and screwing on my Kershaw Camp 12 machete. Right, so this is one of the big, I would say, improvements over the Flagship Pro multi-tool by Nextool. They've exchanged a few tools such as the cutting hook for that square shank that holds the adapter and is basically a bit driver, and they give you a bit kit, and it's just very useful. Alright, this is what they call the knot untying tool. Right, that point there. There we have a knot of paracord. So the way this works, if your knot is really tight, you can take that little spike part and use it to loosen the knot. All right, and you can also use that as a punch, right? You can punch leather or something. They didn't say that, but you can. All right, so there you see the knot untying tool actually works. Now it also has what they list as a nail file. Not a metal file, just a nail file according to them. Alright, you gotta manicure yourself, you gotta pedicure yourself, your dog has some nasty nails, I don't know. Alright, it seems to work. Seems to work there. Okay, we got the bottle opener. Now I'm not allowed to drink high calorie drinks, but a lady friend had that bottled beverage, so I requisitioned it. Alright, it worked better than I thought. That's a small opener, but it actually worked really well. Here is the pouch that it came with. It's got a belt loop there. It's got an overflap with Velcro. And it has enough space for the bit kit as well. Right? It has a little slot pocket for that bit kit. So that's very convenient. Final thoughts on the Black Knight multi-tool. Well, if you like the Nextool Flagship Pro, you will definitely like the Black Knight. I feel it has some improvements, mainly that bit driver, super useful. All right, the only things I would change, I would make the blade a locking blade, which they probably will do in the future. And I would also add a lock to the bit driver so that you could apply more force safely. But overall, an excellent tool. It has 5 really good implements, right? You've got those pliers with the effective wire cutters, the scissors, the saw, the bit driver, and the plain-edged blade. Those are 5 of the most important tools to me, and all the stuff they left off is stuff that's specialized or situational that people often might not need, so it's an efficient tool set. So do I feel that I got my money's worth? Absolutely. Yes, this was definitely worth the $32 that it was. I will include a link if you want to pick one up. The link will be a group link that shows many different Nextool multi-tools. If this sells out, it will temporarily disappear from that listing, but when it's back in stock, it will reappear. All right, so check that out, and also check that to check what the current pricing is. Also, in the text description box below the video, I will include an updated list of my top budget-friendly multi-tools, some even less expensive than this, so check that out because it is an updated list. Alright, and those links do help the channel, and I really appreciate all who use them. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video. This has been We All Juggle Knives. Consider subscribing. I'm out.